Hello, Mina Kimes. Oh, you
Oh,
guys
yeah,
are together.
baby, yeah.
You're both in the studio.
Austin
Okay.
Powers.
Wow.
right.
Make him buy you breakfast, his cheap behind. Mina, who needs
call
the
me
game
cheap.
more, Russell Wilson or Lamar? It's a joke. Carry on.
She's
Or
not
Lamar
joking.
Jackson.
Yeah, you're a lot of things, not cheap. I
you very
wouldn't
much.
throw that one at you. For me, it is Lamar, and this is sort of a season-long view. Obviously, this game specifically, the Ravens needed more, being a game behind. But for me, the reason I would go with Lamar in this case, Stephen A., is because of expectations, right? The Steelers are playing with house money.
Right.
Nobody saw this coming into the season. And that doesn't mean it's not important for them to make a playoff run. That doesn't mean they're not capable of making a playoff run. But I think there's more at stake for the Ravens this season and for Lamar personally. First of all, he is correctly the front runner for MVP. So every game matters for him individually in that respect, becoming the three-time MVP, as many people, myself included, think he deserves to be.
Okay.
The other thing is the Ravens, getting so close so many times, falling short in the playoffs. Of course, that is the ultimate metric, the one he probably cares the most about. You can't lose games and give up the chance to win the division, because you need to make a deep playoff run for the Ravens. This is not just about making the playoffs. Everybody knows that. It's not just about winning the AFC North.
That's right.
They need to be in position to make a deep playoff run, ideally with the number 2 seed.
Well, when you say a deep playoff run, we need to be more specific. Damn it, the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
You got to get Super Bowl. I mean, enough's enough with the damn MVPs. And, his team texting me and stuff. You got this wrong. Dan Orlovsky is right. Stephen A. is Lamar all day, every day. Get to the damn Super Bowl, okay? That's where my focus lies. Lamar Jackson is 1-3 against the Steelers. He's 1-5 against the Chiefs. All of those games were against Patrick Mahomes. He's 65-18 against the rest of the league, okay? This is who Lamar Jackson is. So we know that for some inexplicable reason, even when the Steelers had the likes of Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett or Mitchell Trubisky, they still found a way to beat Lamar Jackson. I don't know if you need to be talking about him as your MVP. Not to say that he's not. But his camp I'm talking about don't need to be chirping about him being an MVP, and I love him. I love them all. But you don't need to be chirping about him being an MVP when you can't beat the damn Pittsburgh Steelers, considering what they've had at their disposal over the last few years, and you only have one victory against Patrick Mahomes. But when you look at Lamar Jackson, this is clearly more important for him than it is for the Steelers. Steelers playing with house money. None of us believed that the Steelers were going to be in this position. We were talking about third place or last place. The Cleveland Browns were in the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco, the comeback player of the year. They went to the playoffs last year before getting bum rushed by by Houston. We didn't expect them to nosedive the way that they have this year. We thought the AFC North, we were looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the only few that had them out of last place is out of deference and respect to the great Mike Tomlin. We didn't see a Pittsburgh Steelers offense and say to ourselves, yo, they're going to take the AFC North.
So about the 4 games thing, it's a small sample size until it isn't, which is to say he has the opportunity here now to turn that on its head. The Steelers have been frankly fortunate because they've missed playing Lamar a lot during the course of his career. So there's a real opportunity for him here to flip the narrative in that regard. I want to go back to something Dan said that I agree with, which is why Lamar is also my answer. He has to ball out for the Ravens to win. Correct. Russell Wilson does not have to, because he's playing the significantly worse defense in any respect, frankly. And his defense is so much better than Baltimore's. They're a very complete team.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And I think that's kind of like the central point is who needs to win more, who needs to be the reason why you win more. I also would say this in regards to Russ. I do think when it comes to Pittsburgh, can you win without being a one-trick pony? Yeah. That's kind of what they are on offense right now. I'm not negating it, but it's really about Russ, throw the ball deep. And it's throw the go route. The one, at some point, a defense, I would imagine this weekend, Baltimore, make them do something else. Make this offense do and with someone else. I know Mike had the game winner, but it's really throw the ball up to George and allow George to go make a play. And at some point, defenses are going to say, well, you're not going to do that. And that's what, more than the win, I think it's interesting to see if Pittsburgh can prove that they're capable of doing that.
How can you argue that, Dan, that the Steelers, it's almost like a one-trick pony, and then say Russ doesn't need this game more? That is their offense is the big question going forward.
Because it's the style rather than the result for me. Like that, I want to see stylistically them do it.
Oh, well, that's fine. That's really nice for you to bring up because usually you ain't talking about style. You're talking about facts. But now all of a sudden you're going to bring up style. But that's okay. I'll let that
Style
go
make
because
fights.
you're supporting my argument here. Here's the whole deal, though, Dan. Since this cat Warren has come back, they're rushing for like 159 yards per game.
Sure.
I'm not ignoring that either. So I don't consider them a one-trick pony in Pittsburgh because they're running the football effectively since he's returned back. And by the way, they're like 7-0 with him in the lineup, and they're 0-2 without him.
And the fact that they are running the ball well is why they're getting those single high looks Dan's alluding to that's allowing them to live off of go balls. The question is, what happens when you face a defense that does not have to play single high to stop the run? Possibly Baltimore, although they're obviously vulnerable on the back end.
Yes, they are vulnerable on the back end, and the Steelers better exploit it too.